Restaurant Unstoppable. Inspire, empower, and transform the industry.
So this was another lesson. What happened was we had opened that, and then there's a vacant lot next to us. It was rubble, and it was owned by the same landlord who owned our place. And I don't remember if he came to us or we came to him. It just said, hey, can we turn this into like a patio because we have so much demand in the summer? And he said, sure. So we had we signed a lease with him, and Sasha built this beautiful, like woven wood fence around it, completely like enclosed walls. That's what he likes to do. He doesn't like anybody to see anything from the outside. It's a little world, and it was a beautiful patio, and people came, from all over to eat in this thing. It was fantastic. And we built a big fireplace at the end of it, which was a headache to run because, there was no communication. There's no wireless back then, so you'd have to run tickets in and out from outside. It was just a, giant mess. Everything was, we had to just pull it out of our ass every day. But we worked hard and we were good at what we did, and we pulled it off, and people appreciated it. But one day I got a note from my landlord saying, we're going to build a building there, so need to take the property back. And I went, fuck, that's a big moneymaker for us. Yeah. I was really bummed out, and I went to one of my biggest investors, who his office was down the street. Very smart business guy, good guy. He was my sounding board as I was learning how to run a business. And I showed him the letter, and I said, this is awful. And he said, don't you have a lease? And I said, yeah. He said, let me see the lease. So I went back and, walked over 2 blocks, got the lease, went back, gave it to him. He read it. He goes, you have no problem. And I said, really? He goes, nah. He goes, here. And he gave me a lawyer's phone number. He said, call this guy.
So by building that building, they were breaking the terms of your lease.
Yeah. So I called the I didn't know any of this stuff. So I called the lawyer, and the lawyer looks at the lease, and he said, yeah, I'm going to write a letter. So he wrote a letter. Next thing I get a call from the landlord. Hey, we should figure out some way to work this out. And I went back to the landlord and to the lawyer, and the lawyer said, no, we don't have to figure out a way to work this out. He has to figure out a way to work this out. And what ended up happening was we said, fine, you can build this building, but where our current patio is, you have to build a dining room with bathrooms, and with 100 seats.
Okay.
Yeah, it became the bottom floor of the building.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah.
So what's the lesson here?
Lawyers can be very useful.
Yeah.
I spent, as anybody who's done what I've done, at the scale I've done it, spends an enormous amount of their time negotiating and reading leases. And that was really the first time I realized that there was some actual power in the language of these things. I never occurred. Because when you're starting out, it's just, you're just asking favors from landlords. All new restaurateurs are completely unaware of any leverage they have. And most of them, to be fair, don't have any leverage, right?
Yeah, well, that's the whole point of creating the leases, to put things, to make it concrete, to make it fixed, so you can't get taken advantage of, put it in writing. Yeah,
but again, you're a new restaurant person. You're very fixated on why didn't the chicken come at 2:00?
Yeah,
and
you're
now
consumed.
Yeah.
So I think the one of the biggest lessons I've learned doing this show is there's 2 people that you want to outsource. The first 2 people you outsource to, first an accountant, second a lawyer. The 2 expenses that you just put up, like
just
pay
for it,
because it will pay for itself in the long run.
It does.
It does.
Yeah. And you can't use a friend who's a lawyer who does a lot of divorce work, but who will look at your lease. No, you use a real estate. It's expensive to have all these lawyers, but
it's also expensive not to.
It's very expensive not to,
because you would have lost that summer business otherwise.
Our early partnership agreements.
Not only did you lose the summer business, but you also gain now that seasonal year-round extra 100 tables.
Yep.
All because you forked up the money for a lawyer. Right?
That's exactly
huge.
Right. But also, and let's be fair, the lawyer wouldn't have happened if I didn't maintain a mentor relationship with a really smart guy who was one of my investors, which is another lesson, which is when you get investors, don't just.
Are they just bringing money?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want a relationship, right? What value do you bring? How are you going to make your investment more likely to succeed, right? Yeah. I love that. That's great.